There have been many cultural movements, from your romantics to your social justice, from your disco to your rock and roll, different cultural movements at different levels, affecting different aspects or parts of society. In the last few decades, we've been swimming in the waters of postmodernism. This is where you call everything into question. This is where the good guy turns out to be a bad guy. The bad guy turns out to be a little bit more human than you thought he was. Where the company or the family that you belong to turns out to be the corrupting force. Not the safe home, but the corrupting force of your soul and the antagonist. And it is the hero, they're the antagonist for your hero to overcome. I have to step out of this family, step away from that business, step out of this culture and supersede it, become bigger than, become better than, because why is it so? Why is it like this? And that's what postmodernism is, calling everything into question. Why is it that way? Why should I? And also, what is real? So, put that one to the side for a moment though, because just focus on the pattern. If you haven't recognized this yet, I would say just let this part sink in, that calling everything into question is a cultural movement, and then go back around to watch your movies. Go back and watch The Matrix, go back and watch. I do believe, and I can't believe I'm using this reference, I do believe the new Barbie is meant to be some bit equated to this as well, where she's realizing that her reality isn't absolute, which I find brilliant. But quite a lot of your Disney movies follow this postmodern thing of calling into question, of making you question, are you seeing reality truly? Just because they appear this way, does that mean that they actually are that way? So let that sink in. And if you haven't noticed it before, you'll really start to notice it. But presuming that you take that as a cultural movement that is in our entertainment, you can also then see it in the real world. And I mean that as in we are questioning our governments, we're questioning our news, we're questioning the leaders, the elite, we're questioning the schools, the education system, we're questioning all of these institutes. Why are you doing it that way? Like, are you what you appear to be? Are you actually what I want or what's needed? Or are you the best person for the job? Like, whatever it is, but questioning everything. So, if that's our culture at the moment, it's very powerful. And there's a reason why it's so pervasive through so many different levels and layers of society and entertainment and thinking. But some people want to affirm life, to say yes to life. They want to be bigger than, they want to transcend, they want to be powerful. And in that, if you are questioning reality, you can get lost into the details. You're deconstructing. You're just taking everything apart, and you can get lost into in the details. And if you're questioning reality, it's very hard to affirm reality, to say yes and. If you have watched the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once, you might have a hint of where exactly this video is going. But all to say is that they explore this space of everything being meaningless, as in like there's so much potential that it just doesn't even matter, and therefore this moment really matters. When everything doesn't matter, then this moment really matters. Either way, tangent, apologies. But all to say is that some people want to affirm life. They want to find some meaning. Like, there is a meaning crisis that no one knows. No one has that felt sense of deep meaning. So, people are questing for this in different ways. People are either going to old religions or new religions. This seems to be the most popular move. Because what people want to affirm life, to say yes to life, to stop questioning and being skeptical of everything, maybe. But let me hold that one to the side, because I still think they're skeptical. But they want to affirm life. They want to say yes to it. What they want is they want community. They want family. They want celebrations and rituals. They want to initiate their kids to say like you are now in the realm of the adults. You want your bar mitzvah or your confirmation or whatever, and you want those, and you want trials and tests, and you want these old, very these old containers that have been refined over centuries, that create culture and create a movement and create a cohesion, that they have a common union, that you have communion with your community. They want that, so they are going back to old religions and finding, because the religion, the priest or the person in charge might not even recognize how much technology is built into the ceremony and the ritual, but when you are singing and when there are drums going, there's music going, you feel less in your own thoughts, and you get a sense, you get a feel for more of a community aspect on a non-logical level, on a non-propositional, this is what you call a participatory level. I've done your 4 levels of knowing. I'll try not to swamp you with language around this, but just singing in a group creates a group feel, and creates a community and dissolves the ego a little bit. So going back to a religion it's not a naive or stupid move for anyone that is going back to traditional religions and looking for that community, looking for that partnership, looking for the rituals and the ceremonies, and looking for those initiation moments for their children. I get that. It's a position for sure. And then you have people going into these new age religions where they are trying to revive religions with no living thread, which is which would have to be done very carefully, because there is so much held in the non-logical or the non-propositional aspects of a religion, like how to view the world. I can give it to you in words, but then you'll mistake the words for the relationship. So the relationship still has to be alive for it to really pass on. So trying to revive these dead religions, difficult. But either way, people are communing around that, because again, they are reintroducing dance, or they are reintroducing music, or they are reintroducing bathing in nature or meditation, or all of these things, these technologies, and they're trying to coordinate them and have a constellation that looks good and feels right and all of the rest. But that's small and might cause issues down the line. I don't know how that one works out. What that is trying to do, though, and this is what I want to try and explore here a little bit, is it's trying to merge the philosophies in that attempt of reviving something and like kind of having like a pick and mix, kind of having a la carte, I'll have this but not that, like that sort of approach to creating this space does have the potential for integrating both Western and Eastern thought, because that is kind of the issue. And you'll have to excuse this, but this is quite a profound question. It's not one that we explicitly explore too often, but it's one that's very relevant here. And this is the paradox of the finite infinite. Whether God came down to earth for the West and actually put his finger on the scale, and there's this sort of like the upper pattern reached down and found itself in this lower pattern, or the East, which is that we don't have direct contact with the higher pattern. We can only play our part in samsara, or in the Hindu net of life. Can't remember the word for that. And we could try to play our role and be in flow and be harmonious. And in that, we are contributing to the higher pattern. That's a tension. Okay? Now, that tension is everywhere. You can do this to, okay, I'm going to use glasses here as an example. I really want to see something that's a bit less. Okay, my phone. My phone's an easier one. Do the parts make it? As in, like, all the little parts, all the little parts, and all the little parts. Did you, when you were looking at this, when you were perceiving it, did you have that Eastern philosophy of, well, this part plays this role, and this part plays this role, and this part, and then all together it comes up together to be a phone? Or did some part, for some reason, of your cognition, your recognition, say, like, that's a phone? Just didn't go through all the details, just something higher was like, I identify that. Maybe that's a bad example. I don't know. I'm going to leave it there, though. I don't want to kind of explore that one too much in this video. The finite infinite, though, is a beautiful thing to explore just in general, but in a video for sure. All to say, there have been many cultural movements. We are in a cultural movement that called everything into question. People want to move past that or transcend that. They want some way of saying yes and, despite the fact that I do not know if the good guy is really a good guy, or if you're full on, like, if you love the Matrix and all the rest, if this wall is actually real. You could be like with Elon Musk, you could think the whole thing is a simulation. But they want some way of getting past this skepticism, this questioning of everything, and integrating it, allowing it, and still saying yes, and I still want. So, what exactly offers that? There's a few things I'd like to say. Actually, there's a lot I'd like to say on this point. One is irony. Building a healthy notion of irony in the fact that what is in front of you, no, how I am showing up in the world right now is one part of me. It doesn't capture all of me. All of my complexity cannot fit into this moment. That just doesn't work. And surrendering into that, and ironically portraying myself, ironically presenting myself, ironically performing, saying, yes, this is, here I am, and this is not all I am, and I'm trusting you to know that, but I for sure know that. So in that, I'm allowed to simplify myself and maybe make mistakes, still knowing that the mystery is always behind it. So that is one, a healthy relationship with irony. The other is the virtues. And yes, of course, I was going to say it. I do host the workshops that explore virtues, but why? Why bother? Like, just why? In a world where everything is in flux, everything's in motion, the cultural movements, everything's skeptical. I don't know if this is here. I don't know if this is what it is. This could just be this computer. How do I know the machinery is still in it? Someone could have come in and taken all the insides out and I wouldn't know any different. I could be that skeptical. I could, about everything in the world, and that's what we're going through. But I can also be skeptical of the virtues. What is it to be brave? What is it to be wise? What is it to be judicious? And use that skepticism to explore and to do it in a group with other people and to hold that tension where I'm skeptical in this way, you're skeptical in that way. I believe some part of me feels it's here, some part of you feels it's there. And in that tension, in all of these parameters that we're pulling at it, you get this just kind of void, you get this space where you get a sense of reality that you don't necessarily question. Might be a risky thing to say. But there's something about coming into contact with that space, with a virtue in that way, knowing that a virtue is a great way of understanding the past, and it's a great thing to understand further going into the future, because it's always going to be good to develop your sense of wisdom, to develop your sense of vitality, develop your sense of acceptance, to develop your sense of assertiveness. All of these different things, the more you develop them, the more sophisticated you are as a person. So no matter what way the world works out, you will be better off having explored the virtues. So I'm going to leave a link to the workshops, to the course I did to try and help you along with them. I'm going to leave those 2 links down below. I would love to see you at one of these workshops. And I hope you've had a great week. There's a lot of things moving at the moment. I hope you're doing well. I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.